Hello, it's January 27th, 2017. This is Susan Duclos with All News Pipeline. And once again, Washington Post does it. They kick off a viral story, which is completely fake news. We're going to start over at Refinery, where they announce an entire team of top government officials just resigned to avoid working with Trump, our new president. Congratulations, by the way. And it starts off with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson's life just got way more difficult. And look at how they wrote that way. They're like excited about it. And you see, they are quoting Washington Post as an entire team of senior management officials at the State Department quit on Wednesday. And they specifically quote the Post saying that the resignations are part of an ongoing mass exodus of senior Foreign Service officers who don't want to stick around for the Trump era, the Post reported. Well, that was a totally false story, as we are going to detail, where CNN and even another Washington Post story admits they were fired. They offered their resignations. They were accepted. It was part of Trump's cleaning of house. But let's take a look first at how much ink liberals dedicated to this. Okay, we're over here at Memorandum. And what I did was I went to their archived page from January 26th, yesterday, at 2:20 p.m. Now you can see the Washington Post started this whole thing, and take a look at some of these headlines. Entire senior management team at State Department has resigned from Washington Monthly. The Axios State Department has just had a mass exodus. Talking Points memo, top State Department leadership resigns en masse. Yeah, I'm sure you're getting the point here. Just take a look at some of these. The thing is, if you'll notice, the conservative outlets managed to get it right. Hot air. Patrick Kennedy and three top State Department officials fired by the Trump administration. Now, we're going to take a look at some of the other headlines. Some of the liberal sites actually did put an update on the bottom after they were seen by the majority of their people, but at least kudos to them for putting the update on the bottom, which showed that their whole headline and piece was wrong. But a lot of them didn't even bother. They just continue to let their readers believe Washington Post's fake news that these people resigned in mass. This site is Axios, and of course, this Steph Kite. The State Department just had a mass exodus, and once again, that's right, they're quoting the fake news that Washington Post put out. And they did at least ask if it was normal and pulled up a tweet from the AP's Matt Lee that says resignations like this come with every transition. And then at the end, they did add the update after other people than Washington Post did their due diligence and informed them that the Trump administration fired these people. Now remember, these were the Hillary Clinton lackeys at the State Department. So cleaning house was pretty much expected, but you can just see how many of these liberal websites jumped on the fake news from Washington Post. Now, this is reminiscent of just recently when the Washington Post reported breathlessly that the Russians had hacked into America's power grid. And then in the same piece ended up having to add an editor's note. Well, no, they really didn't. And then a couple days later had to put out a whole news story. Russia had nothing to do with it. So this isn't just one story that they're wrong on. They're actually producing fake news, and everybody's jumping on it, telling their people about it. And by the time they're putting the updates on saying, hey, it wasn't exactly what we told you, everybody's already read it. Nobody's going back to it. So if you ask 90% of these people, they're going to believe that the people at the State Department resigned en masse because they didn't want to work with Donald Trump. President Trump, I might add. Here's another one. Boing Boing or Boeing, however you say that site. State Department's entire senior level of management officially quits. And they write on Wednesday, all of the senior managers of the U.S. State Department quit en masse. Again, they're quoting fake news. Washington Post reports that it's part of an ongoing mass exodus of senior Foreign Service officers who don't want to stick around for the Trump era. They put in a small quote, and then, of course, they have to be smart Alex. I'm sure the vacant positions will be filled by competent replacements. And if you look on this one, nope, no update. They didn't bother even telling their readers the truth when it was found out that these people were part of a cleaning of house by the Trump administration. Okay, this one is from a site called Above the Law. And they start off with State Department managers resign in mass, Justice Department, your move. And the whole thing is snark and sarcasm, of course. And they begin it with, now this is a statement. Problem is, it was a statement. It was a statement from the Trump administration that, hey guys, we don't want you here anymore. But if you take a look, once again, another site that just didn't put an update on. They never bothered. And of course, the whole thing was when this wave of white supremacy and nationalism over, there's going to be an accounting. Yeah, time to pick a side. And obviously, their side that they're picking is fake news by Washington Post. Here, we're going to go to more. Don't worry. Now, this one is from the week. All of these links will be put in the details at the bottom of the video here, so you can check for yourself that they still haven't put updates up. All the State Department senior management officials just resigned. Of course, they cite the Washington Post again. And let's see, even add more. It's the single biggest simultaneous departure of an institutional memory that anyone can remember. See, they're making it seem like, oh my God, everybody hates Trump so bad, none of them can stay. And again, once again, no update on this thing. They just go straight into the next story. See, nobody's bothering to update these things. I mean, it's bad enough they jumped on it. Now, again, we'll go back to the memorandum page. You will see that places like Hot Air, other places actually got the CNN report and other reports before some of these even came out. They had the truth. But these people didn't even bother to look. They just took the Washington Post word for it, despite being screwed over with the Russian grid attack thing, despite all the other times the Washington Post with their unnamed sources, and we had four sources. These sources are playing them. They're actually, I'm beginning to think that some of these sources are deliberately trying to make them look like fools. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, one last one. This one is raw story. The entire senior level, and look, that's even in quotes, of State Department management just resigned to avoid working for Trump. Report. Now, I'd like to mention here it was four people, the four top people, one of which, as Hot Air does point out, actually tried to have Clinton's emails downgraded from classified. And they were part of the State Department once it was figured out that she was using classified information on her server. So these were Clinton lackeys. And it makes sense that when you're transitioning to a opposing party's administration, you don't want lackeys from a Clinton State Department on your payroll. And raw story here, back to it. Once again, you have the whole story, all of them quoting Washington Post's Josh Rogan, who probably should not have a job today after this big mistake. And they do have a spokesperson, letting him know that these are politically appointed officers. But again, they do not give an update saying that they were fired and that the Washington Post story was wrong. Okay, one last thing, and we will be ending this one for today. I just wanted to get something out for everybody. We're going to start making more videos again, so hang on one second. Okay, now we're going to go over here to hot air. Now, these are the conservative sites that reported at the same time that the liberal sites picked up the Washington Post story. Patrick Kennedy and 3 top State Department officials fired by the Trump administration. They give the Washington Post version, and then they point out that CNN actually tweeted 4 top State Department management officials all fired by Trump admin, part of an effort to clean house, officials tell. And they do also point out that Patrick Kennedy, one of the men that were just fired, was the person working behind the scenes to downgrade classified emails found on Hillary Clinton's private server. When the first secret email turned up on Clinton's server, Kennedy intervened 3 different times to ask the FBI to change its mind about the classification. So it makes it very clear why these people are gone. And we have other conservatives that got it right too. We'll go on over to the Daily Caller. Well, amazing. Another conservative site got it right. Daily Caller. Trump cleans house at highest levels of State Department. And Gateway Pundit did too. They got it right. Draining the swamp. Entire pro-Obama senior management team at State Department forced out by Trump. Here's the deal, folks. Washington Post has deliberately been putting out fake news. Washington Post, remember, is owned by Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos has a $600 million contract with the CIA. And who's Trump been fighting with lately? That's right, the CIA. Look, the Washington Post is doing this deliberately. They're putting out fake news. Their liberal little puppets out there are repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, not bothering to actually update with the truth in most cases. And those that do, I mean, if you make a mistake, you update with the truth. You get kudos for doing that. I'll give you that. But if these conservative sites at the same time, because as you can see, the time on this Gateway Pundit, January 26, 11:42 a.m., if they're able to get the truth out, why aren't the liberal sites? Because they don't want to. They want their readers to continuously believe the lies. It's that simple. I mean, what, unless they want to say, hey, these conservative people are smarter than we are, that's not true. They've all got brains. What they're doing is they're using them in a manner that's misleading their readers, just like the Washington Post is. So this is it for this video. When they're doing this fake news, as you know, they've accused 200 conservative websites, or hundreds of conservative websites they have called fake news, Russian propaganda. They made such a big deal of fake news after the election. It cost Hillary Clinton the election. But yet now they are producing outright fake news. And we're supposed to say, hey, it's just a mistake. No, it isn't a mistake. They're doing this on purpose, and if we do not call them out each and every time they do it, they're going to get away with it. Hope you all have a good day.